Good afternoon, lady and gent.
Good
Elizabeth,
afternoon.
welcome back. Adekunle, welcome back.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Thank you very much. Without
All
wasting
right.
our time today, we're going straight to our case study. And what is our case study? Based on rate of poverty. Let me say in Nigeria, I know whatever that we talk about in Nigeria, we go across the West Africa or Africa in a whole. So I will start my question from Elizabeth. Elizabeth, what is poverty?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jim, and thank you for having me on this show again. I'm happy to be here. So, I'll just run through what poverty is, right? And then a lot of things can actually come up while we are in the course of the discussion. So generally, so poverty is just a state. It's a condition. Sometimes people call it a socio-economic status, but in a general or in a broader sense, it's a situation whereby you have some individuals or even some groups of people or communities that lack financial resources and some of the essentials for a minimum standard of living. What I mean by minimum standard of living is if you can have access to food, that's a minimum standard of living. You can have access to clean water, if you can have access to education, you can have access to healthcare, and then you can have access to good housing, then you'll be able to at least achieve a minimum standard of living. These are the requirements even an individual or a community or that have insufficient access to all of these factors that I've mentioned. In some part of Africa, Nigeria, Yoruba, they will say that when food is taken out of the equation, then poverty is no longer defined, right? See, on the back, that's the
Yeah,
terms that I'm trying to
That's
explain
right.
what that factor that insufficient access to food, these are insufficient access to clean water, insufficient access to healthcare, access to housing. These are, the general terms that actually define what the poverty is in a particular location. We can have other things, as we go on during the process, but that's generally what poverty is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Adekunle Adebayo, did you have anything to add with what Elizabeth has just said about the poverty? What is poverty? Do you have anything to talk about?
yeah, thank you very much. I think she has covered it all. I know I actually have much to say to add to it, except for maybe to just mention the fact that, or reiterate the fact that the condition that makes people to lack basic needs, which forms the basis of living, which she has also covered. I mean, apart from the she has given us, is a generally it's a general norm in terms of the definition of poverty, and which is prevalent in this part of the world. Those basic needs that are very good to have a comfortable life, the inadequacy in our society or in Nigeria is what has been our problem, and that is the main reason the poverty has been so imminent here. So that's all I could have.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I don't know if you want me to just start, or maybe maybe you could also start that say in the further questions. Yes, so poverty is actually relative. I think we need to also understand that it is measured differently from countries to countries. Um, but there is this, if I may add to it, that sometimes when you talk about, when you take it to the economic angle of it, you know, we usually refer to maybe the World Bank Group or the United Nations having been mentioning what actually measures poverty or how they measure it. For instance, in in the United States of America, they could tell you that okay, it's actually when you live at or below a particular dollar, that is when you can see that, this person falls under the poverty line. But generally, the World Bank has it that for you to be classified or to be regarded as being poor, right? Apart from these basic needs, then you must have been living less than $2 per meal. Okay, look at Nigeria, for instance. A rate of dollar to naira is about one Saturday night about 1,640 naira to the dollar, meaning that if we do the naira equivalent of $2 per day, that means you have like 3,500 naira in a day, right? And then in a month or the halfway, if you're working for 30 days, that means a typical Nigerian that has 105,000 naira is what? It's classified as poor. And then even in Nigeria, what is the minimum wage? 70,000 naira. It's not even up to that. So it means that a lot of people, within that minimum wage category, falls under this category because it's even less than the 105,000 naira World Bank standard, right? And then people can't. So there are people that are living below the 70,000, which is even hard for our governments to implement. Right? So these are things that we need to actually still probably for that discussion in the course of this.
Thank you very much. Elizabeth, thank you very much. Adekunle Adebayo, what are the causes of poverty in a whole? Adekunle Adebayo.
You asked me for the causes,
Yeah.
and I'll start to look at it from this perspective. Majorly, especially in this part of the world, the major cause is based on our opportunity level in terms of adequate resources. We lack those resources. What are those resources that makes life easy for people? Like she mentioned about potable water. In some places we don't have such. So in Nigeria the poor infrastructure has been a key factor to poverty. Lack of jobs opportunities in terms of people want to do things and they have the ability, they have everything, but there are no jobs out there. The opportunities are not there. Talk about limited access to, clean water. We have this corruption thing again.
Yeah, we are coming to that area there.
Yeah, and the governance in town too. People are very I think we are a bit our government is just not, they don't have probably the focus or the wherewithal to actually tackle people. It's never in their even though they will mention it, but they don't have the pedigree or the technique to face some of the challenges that could develop people and could eradicate poverty. Maybe climate change, we may say, because sometimes in Nigeria now you just see that some people woke up and just found out that their houses, their investments are flooded, everything gets, you understand, we don't get information or something to preempt somebody to be able to plan for some of those things. So what I can also say could be in our education level. Quite a number of people too lack this education in terms of they cannot afford it. And some of these things are not free. So apart from that, I think by and large, that has been the one I can remember so far.
Okay,
in
thank you very much. Before I go up, Elizabeth mentioned earlier on is referring to United States of America or or World Bank, and I'm going to ask a
Yes.
question on that area. Elizabeth, now, do you have anything to add?
Okay,
The
so
cost of poverty in Africa, just about 2 minutes, please.
okay, so well, I'll try and manage the time. So there are other courses that you mentioned quite a number of them, which are valid courses. Now, one major issue we have in Nigeria, I'm going to consider, is oil dependency. Now, there's this over dependence. We have made oil as the mainstay of the economy ever since oil was discovered. During some years back in Nigeria, we decided to neglect agriculture, which is our father, our initial source of revenue. Agriculture. Then, when agriculture was the mainstay of Nigeria, we were exporting and then we were making huge money from cash crops. And then eventually, when oil came, we neglect agriculture and some of that service income generating industries. We forgot that and we depend on oil. And now Nigeria's over reliance on oil is actually making the economy to be vulnerable to oil price fluctuations. Now, because we now depend on it, but we don't even have the refineries here to actually refine the crude so that we can actually trade with the local currency. We have to start importing. Importing means that we have to demand for more of dollars. The higher the demand in dollars, the higher the price. And that's what is happening now. So until we begin to look into the local production, we may not run out of this vicious cycle of poverty in Africa and Nigeria particularly. So it's a major issue because now it is affecting the economy. It has become a canker one that's sitting deep into the fabric of the economy. Now, apart from that, another thing is population growth. Now, yes, we are talking about poverty. How are we curtailing the rate at which the economy, the population is increasing? You see, on average, Nigeria does not even have a job. And you're giving birth to like 6 children, 7 children. You have a family of 9. What are they doing with it? Taking care of 2 children is alarming. You want to give them a standard, a standard level of education that will take people out of this poverty. Then, so I have a statistic that says that on the average, every year, Nigerian population increased by over 2%. We started with about 73 million in, I think, 1985. We got to about 173 in 2015. Now we are 223. Just as of July, the record the population growth has reached about 232 million. So what that means is that each year as we grow, the population growth is actually growing at a faster rate than the economy is growing. So what does that mean? We cannot cover that gap until we are capped, or even growing lesser than the way the economy is growing. And that's a basic, the major effects of what is actually increasing the level of poverty. Why people cannot have access to all of this? Because we now begin to ration the resources amongst the large number of people that we have.
Okay, thank you very much, Elizabeth. Before I ask you the question now, I want you to answer this one for me. What you really mean is you want Nigerian to reduce the rate of birth.
That rate should be curtailed. Now, when you see, I don't have a problem with you having 7 children. Now, you have the resources to take care of the 7 children. It's my body. Do you understand? So I don't have a problem with you having the 2, even having 1 child or having 2 children. So we need to balance this thing. What is your level of, income to cater for that? You want to get out of poverty. Can you afford the necessity of it? If you can, why not? Look at today. Yes, if you decide to have hundreds of children, it can actually handle it. Because for me, we are unique to set on that line. It's not going to You understand? So it is a matter of comparing your resources with, what you can actually take as startup. But in Nigeria, it's unfortunate. having a lot of children will not help us, because the truth is currently we are not doing well in terms of resource allocation. We are not doing well in terms of infrastructure. We are not doing well in terms of education. So why do you want to go that route? So that's my thank you.
Thank you very much. Poverty levels are projected to increase of 38.8% this year, I mean 2024, according to the projection. And then the unemployment rate low. Also, the consumer spending and purchasing power all remain an issue or problems in Nigeria. Adekunle Adebayo, what is your opinion on these projections of poverty levels that is 38.8% in Nigeria as of this year, that make the unemployment level to be low, and the aspect of consumer spending and purchasing power remain the issue or problems that are confronting the Nigerian economy or the Nigerian people in a whole?
Thank you for that question. If I have to take you from where Lizzie stopped in terms of the population, I think we definitely have to control our population. The population growth has to be curtailed, according to Elizabeth, and I support that. And when you look at it, all these indices that just came up in this regime now, quite a number of us in the past 1 year have now faced the fact that sometimes I don't just know, I don't understand, because everybody just think that, okay, I have to have minimum of family of 6. That is, I got married, I must to born 4. You understand? Where is that from? Where is that coming from? You understand? So now, but the reality is facing everybody now. There's nobody in Nigeria now that is not feeling the heat about the fact that all along what we have been doing is that is, it is now that we are facing the music. This is now the time, because everybody now, for instance, I met a family this morning, and the guy was telling me that he has to withdraw the son from a school that the boy had to spend like 3,000 to get to the school, to a nearby school. And I said, yes, this is the way it should have been. There are founding fathers like Awolowo and the rest of them, and which is what obtains in the UK, whereby schools that are very closer to where you live is where they encourage children to attend, so that it can be easy for so many reasons, and is cheap to maintain. So the maintenance has always been our biggest problem. And now the economy of the world is having issues, yet we are still not curtailing this population. I will tell you something. Elizabeth talked about the fact that, fine, it's good when one has the ability, the wherewithal, the resources to manage a big family. Yeah, it is true. But it's been ab initio. We have been told in a way that larger families or big families is like how do I call it? Something that can drag you down, can put you into poverty. And everybody needs to be conscious of this. But I don't think that consciousness is even in our government, because nobody, even in the budget or in every forum that we try to give analysis on the economy, about the cost of living, standard of living, and everything, nobody has. They don't actually talk about the population. They don't look at the number of individuals and management of that. The management of people, the more people you have to manage in terms of the resources, unless the resources can move in line with the, just as what Elizabeth said. You see, so but the resources is getting down. Why? By the population growth, and it's not curtailed. It's even going at higher rate because more people that are being produced are also producing. So that one is going like a geometrically. Why this one is going arithmetically? Definitely we have a problem. But I think, just like I said, the present regime has probably put something into our ears now, because sometimes we never knew that we can always walk virtually. You understand? Some people can abandon office, and by so doing, you don't put all cars on the road. Before we do all those things, a family will put 3-4 cars on the road the same time, running and burning fuel. But now they don't have to tell you. You just manage. You have to make. So I think the present situation we are in will help us to probably, maybe just to help us get into a near average, because we are terribly. I don't even think the 38% is good enough. It's probably lower than the level we are. The poverty level should be almost 50%. I'm telling you, some of us I would think we have something.
I think it's about 42% now currently.
That looks better. That looks rather correct, or near correct.
We have about 5 million people living in the poverty line, so that's about 42% of the total population.
Okay, thank you. Elizabeth mentioned earlier on, before we go further, and I want Elizabeth to answer this question. This question is for you. If you agree with it, based on World Bank projection, about 40.7% of Nigerians are estimated to live below the international poverty line at the end of 2024. Did you agree with it?
It's happening. We just did an analysis now. I actually agree. So the projection to 2030 is that if the current situation in Africa or Nigeria is not curtailed, we might end up having over 50% poverty rate in the country. If currently Nigeria is at 230 million, and then you have over 80 million acts that are, because looking at like I mentioned, I gave you measurements. The index uses saying that on the average, if you're living below $2 per day, then you're classified as poor. You are within the vicious circle of poverty. So that $2, I've just done an analysis that says that $2 times 1,600, it's still at a minimum. You have 3,500 in a day, 3,500 naira. And in a month, you'll be getting like maybe 105. Today, a bag of rice costs about 80 million. I think about 84,000 naira, depending on the kind of rice. Today, a carton of frozen food, chicken wraps, it's over 50,000 naira. Today, palm oil, it's so it means that how many people, if you're looking at, and Nigeria is paying 70,000 naira, which is still being dragged, 30,000 naira minimum wage. Is how many can afford all of these basic necessities? I'm not sure that half of the population is even estimated to go. So it's actually well above that. Because if you're looking at the number of people that are doing well in this country, categorize them, I don't think it's even up to 5% that are very, that are the richer, let's say that can even make up categories. And maybe the middle class that can happen, maybe within a range of maybe 20%, and then not the rest, are all below class. So it's the projection is right, but I think it's can even be higher if you are going at this level, at this current rate of economic condition in Nigeria, both economic and political condition in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Adekunle Adebayo, you mentioned earlier on about the corruptions And rate in crime, that the crimes are so high, which also contributed to the rate of poverty in Nigeria. In what way and sense can this reduce or eradicated? Number one, as we mentioned, corruption and rate of crime that is high in Nigeria. In what way can this thing curtail?
Thank you very much. Everything still boils down on this population curtailing. If we don't curtail this population growth, definitely we are not planning to get better. We cannot better our good, and we cannot best our better. It is obvious because there are so many impediments that are there, and they overweigh where the problem is coming from. That is, they overweigh where we get the resources. So the effects of this population growth far outweigh the opportunities to grow our economy. It continues to press it down, and that is the problem. Let me now be highlighting it one by one. First of all, in the governance, they don't have the policy framework to get some of these things tackled. Because when you look at it, probably we didn't control, we cannot control the public, but it can be done in a way. Because we have this middle class in Nigeria. We have the high class, and they are not more than maybe 2% of the population. The middle class is about like 25. The middle class can afford to have children or to have more than maybe 2. But they are not doing it. So the greater number, which is like 80% or 70%, they don't even think about it. So sometimes you look at this as lack of knowledge about the fact that, okay, the middle class that I'm talking about are like, okay, fine. It's looking at the fact that, okay, I cannot do vacations every year. But if I'm going to be able to do vacation every two years, then I can have a bigger family than maybe. So now nobody is putting our mind, our orientation into some of these things. And where do we have crime? Crime rates cannot reduce when we have people that are in needs. They have to look to get to solve their needs. And in trying to do that, it increases the criminality rate. You understand? And because at every point in time, you even walk on our streets in Lagos, you'll be baffled sometimes in the morning, very early in the morning. You see some boys just crisscrossing on the traffic, crisscrossing in the traffic. Where were they? They probably slept around the gutter or on the road because they are dirty and they're all over the place. Some of them don't even have anybody taking care of them. Everybody is just out because there's nothing. And they are just there extorting. And so the policy framework from government has to be, somebody has to actually look into this. We are heading for a very terrible situation because everything cannot be free. And that's where I also look at this current government that is trying to drum some. It's trying to draw our ears to probably have to manage our resources in level with our income or according to our clock. A lot of abuse are being curtailed. But that abuse of, I think, the knowledge or the understanding or in terms of information on people to curtail family. Family is part of what we need to also curtail, to be able to reduce poverty. Reduce, we cannot eradicate it.
Thank you very much, Adekunle Adebayo. Elizabeth, do you have anything to add with it?
Well,
Just 1 minute, please.
okay, so we can talk about effects. We mentioned some of the effects of poverty, and then one major effect that I think I want to also add is the issue of this human capital drain. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Now, it has gotten to a point whereby we have our best brain being drained from the country. We have poor healthcare, we have poor education systems, and then we have poor feeding system. So a lot of people, like one of the first things that actually cause, the Japa syndrome, and then what can actually be if these resources, this human capital resources is actually retained in the economy, they are part of the people that can actually also help out of this features. You understand? So it has resulted in a lot of unskilled labor force, which limits the country's economic potential, right? So a lot of regional disparities also weakened growth. You have social instability, insurgency, also Boko Haram, also displacing a lot of people. Banditry in the northern Nigeria, also displacing people, millions of people from their towns, which is actually disrupting farming and trade. And these are some of the effects of bad policies, bad framework that should help the system. So I don't know. These are two things I think I also want to.
Thank you very much. Because of our time, our last question. Problem facing the so-called rate of poverty in Nigeria is not based in some certain states, like the most poorest state in Nigeria. If you want to talk about Taraba State, Ebonyi State, Zamfara State, Yobe, and Kebbi. But if you want to look to those 5 states, the rate of that poverty is not based or limited to those 5 states. When we look across Nigeria today, we notice that rate of poverty is across the whole states. We have about 36 states in Nigeria. If you go to the street of Abuja today, it's part of the rate of poverty. A lot of female and men now line up in the night waiting for men to pick them up, come to Ikeja in Lagos. You see them in the night, First Stack area, Island, go to Ibadan. You see them, Mokola area, Yua area, Adama Sigbanko, all those areas. Go to the other states like Ebonyi State, go to Port Harcourt, Obasanjo Way in Port Harcourt. You see them line up there. Go to River State, you see them across our Nigeria. Go to Osogbo, Akure Ekiti, and go to the Benin State, whatever, is it Benin or whatever, something there, across Nigeria. And this rate of poverty is spreading. What is the way forward to eradicate poverty? I know it's a long way. Nobody can eradicate poverty. It can only reduce. In what way can this thing be reduced? I just want 1 minute from our speaker. Adekunle first. Well, just 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question and very tough too. I think the present government and probably some of the former or subsequent, governments from the past, previous governments have always, I think we know some of these things, that education is first thing that can make people be aware and work on poverty. The level of higher education in some of those 5 states that you mentioned is very, very low. And even at that, people don't even go to school in those areas to want to probably further their course. You understand? So a lot of people just feel that they should be that laid back. But these are part of what education needs to bring to us, is to give people exposure, is to enlighten people, to want people from Taraba State move to Lagos, from Taraba State move to Osun, where you can get opportunities. But some of these things, even from the policy of government, they are very, very minute in terms of the seriousness. You understand? Also, the orientation in terms of family curtailment and things like that. If somebody goes go on here now and mention it in Nigeria, it's like you are committing a taboo. You'll be picked up. They mentioned something very close to that thing recently when he said that the poverty in the north was caused by the fact that they don't check on their security men that is having about 19 children. How can we cope? It would definitely have to steal. So I think the government of the day, they are only using lip service to say they want to reduce poverty, and what do they say sometimes? They have to go do cash transfer and all those stuff. These are not what can stop it. What can stop it is just the awareness from people that they need to get education and they need to fend for have sense of responsibility. You understand? When person don't feel responsible, he doesn't even think he needs to cater for himself or somebody else. And we need to be accountable for that. Thank you.
Our time is gone there. Elizabeth,
okay,
I want you to contribute to what Adekunle have just said now.
Okay, so fine. Thank you very much for the question. So, like we said, poverty can actually not be eradicated totally, so it can only be reduced. And even with World Bank, they have ambition. World Bank has an ambition of reducing it to less than 3% in the year 2030. Well, that's an ambition, but what can there can be an ambition if it is not part of the program. One of the major one is education, which is how we as mentioned. We also need to put in place those infrastructures.
Exactly.
Those infrastructures that need to allow people to go to school, allow people to have access to good health. When you have good health, goes a long way to helping you think right, to helping you, have access to whatever you think you want to have access to. So when you have, awareness from the roots, that's not from government alone now. Now, individual communities, we need to start trying to begin from home. When we say something needs to change, it has to change from us. We need to understand that this poverty thing that we're talking about, it is not from government. It's not government that will come and help us to reduce it. Yes, government has a lot of work to do. But it starts from, our mentality that, okay, I need to curtail the number of children I need to have. Yeah. My children need to go to school. This idea of, it is the women should remain in the kitchen. In, this side of the country that there's only men that should work. No, let's us all ensure that we have equal access, to our education. We have access to the infrastructure, good roads, good health care system. All of these things would at least help us achieve this ambitious target of the World Bank to reduce to less than 3% in the next 2030. So these are some of my things. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth and Adekunle. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
God bless.